Good morning, class. So, today, as we have completed the previous chapter, that was principles of variance and inheritance. So, it was all about genetics. So, before starting with the molecular basis of inheritance, let me give you a brief about genes. So, as you all will be more familiar with the term genes as compared to the DNA. So, what is a gene? A gene is the ultimate unit of recombination, mutation, and self reproduction. So, what is gene? I told you genes are the hereditary units. What are hereditary units? Those units that have the capability to pass on to next generation and also to mutate themselves. And whatever the mutation is there, whatever the mutation occurs in a gene, it should have the capability to pass on to further and further on generations. अगर further and further on या आगे generations में कोई mutation pass नहीं हो रहा है तो that is not called a true mutation, and genes which show mutation are called as the true genes. So what are the chemical nature of genes? Genes are made up of DNA. So now what we talk about is the DNA, and what are the principal requirements for molecule to be called as DNA. The requirements for this are they should have the ability to duplicate, that is they have the uh, process known as faithful replication, so that thing should be present in the DNA so that they are able to pass on to further and further on generation by replicating themselves. Replication is also called as duplication. So replication leads to the formation of more and more DNA from a single strand of DNA. And the process of replication is also present in this chapter and we'll study it later on. And the second the property of a DNA is it should undergo mutation, and such a change should be stably inherited. So not just mutation should be there, as well as that mutation that have occurred in the DNA should have the capability to be further on inherited by the next generation. Then the last property is that it should be able, it means the DNA that should be able to express itself in the genetic formation information, so in the formation of genetic code, so that is called as the transcription. So formation of the mRNA, that is the messenger RNA from the DNA, is called as transcription. So and transcription then is followed by the process called as translation. This is called the central dogma. What is the central dogma? DNA that is capable of transforming into mRNA, the messenger RNA, and messenger RNA is capable of translating into the protein. And one more thing, that RNA is also should be able to transform again into the DNA, that is reverse transcription. So all this complete process is called as the central dogma, and all the molecular basis of inheritance is based on this particular term, that is central dogma. So as I told you that what are genes? They are chemically just they are made up of DNA. So when many DNAs combine together, a gene is formed. Now we'll talk about the DNA. Before jumping onto DNA, we'll discuss what are the nucleic acids, because nucleic acids are of two types, and DNA is only one part of nucleic acids. The other one is RNA. Now, nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are the macromolecules present in all living cells. Macromolecules means these are those molecules that are formed from many different micromolecules. Micro means small. When many small molecules combine together, they form a large molecule that we call as a macro, and the term macro is used for big. So what are the micromolecules that attach the nucleotides? So when many nucleotides attach together or combine together, they form the DNA. So what are the micromolecules? The nucleotides. And the macromolecule that is formed is the nucleic acids. And what nucleic acids? The DNA or RNA. Then the second point, who was the first person to isolate the nucleic acids from the pus cells? The Friedrich Miescher. So Friedrich Miescher first was observing some bandages, some used bandages from some person who was who had some accident and bleeding occurred. Bleeding also took place with the oozing out of some pus cells. So then he examined these bandages in which the pus cells and blood was present. He isolated that nucleic acid from that pus cells, and that the term he given to those nucleic acids was nuclein. So first the nucleic acids were not called nucleic acids, but they were called as nuclein, because till then it was not very confirmed, because it was very early stages and the examination process was not very much well developed at that time. That's why the presence of an acid was not confirmed. So that's why the word nuclein was used in place of nucleic acids. Then further on it was examined that it has an acidic nature. The nuclein also had an acidic nature, and it was shown by Altmann. Altmann is also credited for naming the mitochondria. So Altmann then called it as nucleic acids. So the final term nucleic acids was used by Altmann. Then what are the two types of nucleic acids that are found in the living organisms? So DNA as well as RNA. So human beings contain DNA as genetic material, that is the deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxy is used when at one position there is a lack of one oxygen. Oxygen refers to the term oxy, that's why deoxy word is used. And ribonucleic acid when there is presence of two oxygens and at second position. So 2 prime OH, it's a position in the DNA and RNA both, and at one point the oxy from that position is being removed in the DNA, and if that oxy or the oxygen is removed, it is called deoxyribonucleic acid, and only H is present there, as well as the ribonucleic acid when the 2 prime OH is intact. So where is this deoxyribonucleic acid present? DNA in mostly higher plants and animals, and in some lower plants and animals there is the presence of ribonucleic acid, that is the RNA. But RNA was the first to be discovered. DNA, maybe it is used majorly, and in most of the living organisms DNA is there as the nucleic acid, but RNA was the is the most primitive one, that is it was found earlier and in the organisms that were found just after the Big Bang. So what was found after the Big Bang? The prokaryotes, the bacteria. So most of these contain the RNA as their genetic material, and that's why RNA is considered to be more primitive, though deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA, it is present in larger amount of animals and it is considered to be more superior, but primitive one is RNA. Now talking about DNA. So DNA is the genetic material of all living organisms. This carries the coded information from one generation to another. So what is the coded information? The information is being packed, the genes, that is the genes are present on chromosomes. So all these genes along with chromosomes packed together, and then these are then converted to mRNA, that is the process of transcription, and from transcription to the protein. So this the coded information is in the form of proteins are transferred from one generation to another. So this is the coded form of DNA transfer. And what is the structure of DNA? It is a long polymer of deoxyribonucleotides. So when many deoxyribonucleotides combine together, they form a long polymer, and this long chain polymer is called as DNA. The length of the DNA depends upon the number of nucleotide pair present in it. So length mostly varies in one organism, and it's different from the other one, and it does not take place usually, but if the DNA length is different, it is only due to the difference in the number of nucleotide pairs present in it. Then in eukaryotic cell, the DNA is found in nucleus, and it is the chief component of chromosomes. So DNA is also found in the mitochondria and chloroplast. So we talked about it, that the eukaryotic cell, they have DNA in the nucleus, not just in the nucleus, it is also having some cell organelles that are called as the semi-autonomous cell organelles. So these semi-autonomous cell organelles, that is the mitochondria and chloroplasts, they also contain some amount of DNA in them, though it is only 10% of the total DNA, but yet it is counted as a structure which is having DNA. So the total DNA of a cell is combination of the nuclear DNA as well as the organellar DNA. Organellar DNA are those mitochondria and chloroplast are the organelles. They combine together and form the total DNA in an organism. Then, what is the chemical structure? The chemically DNA is composed of deoxyribose sugar, phosphate group, and nitrogenous base. So, deoxyribose sugar, it is a pentose sugar. Pentose sugar means having 5 carbon in it, and the molecular formula for this is C5H10O4, and this is how it is attached. So this is 2 deoxyribose. 2 means at 2 position. Second, this is the position. Here there is no presence of O, that is the oxygen group, and here it is the presence of OH. This is hydroxyl group, and when OH combined together, it is called hydroxyl, and when O is removed, that is oxygen is removed, it becomes deoxy because of the removal of oxygen. So this is the structure of 2-deoxy, and it is having 5 carbons in it. So here 1C, 2C, 3, 4 and 5. So this is the structure where 5 carbons are present, and these 5 carbons combine together to form the pentose sugar. And the phosphate group, it is also attached. The phosphoric acid forms the phosphate group. So the acid word in the nuclein was attached after the discovery that the DNA or any nucleic acid, the DNA or RNA, they have a acidic group also, and this acidic group was formed from the phosphate group, and it was phosphoric acid. Then the molecular structure or the molecular formula, this is the molecular structure of the phosphate group, and it is the molecular formula of phosphate group in which valency it is attached to the DNA. So it is responsible for the acidic nature of DNA. Now talking about the nitrogenous bases, there are mainly two types of nitrogenous bases, and again the purines and pyrimides are divided. So first talking about the main two bases, the purines and pyrimidines. So purines are the double ring heterocyclic structural compounds. Double ring means this is one ring and here it's another ring. So these are double ring, means 2 rings are combined together, and heterocyclic compounds. The 2 types of purines present in the DNA. What are the 2 types of purines now? Adenine and guanine. So for denoting adenine, alphabet A is used in capitals, and for denoting guanine it is capital G. So these are the 2 purines, adenine and guanine. Then comes the pyrimidine. Pyrimidine are the single ring structure. Now you can see only single rings are present and no other ring is attached. That's why they are single ring structure. And the 2 types of pyrimidines present in the DNA are cytosine. This is cytosine and this is thymine. If we are talking about DNA, that's why we are using thymine. If we were talking about RNA, then in place of thymine there is presence of uracil. And now how this nitrogenous basis is attached to the ribose sugar? It is attached with a glycosidic bond, and it is called as N-glycosidic bond. So glycosidic bond are used when something is attached to the sugar. So mostly the carbohydrate compounds, the sugar containing compound, they use glycosidic bond to attach to any other structure. So this is the glycosidic bond that is attaching the ribose sugar to the nitrogenous base. Then what are nucleosides? These are the compounds that are formed by the combination of pentose sugar and nitrogenous bases. So here no phosphoric acid is attached, so that's why it is called nucleoside. And जब phosphoric acid attached होता है तो इसको nucleotide बोलते हैं. So now what is nucleoside? It is a nitrogenous base attached to the C1, that is first carbon of pentose sugar, by N-glycosidic linkage. So this is the first carbon, and with this first carbon the base is attached, and this is a nucleoside. In DNA, nucleosides are formed by the combination of deoxyribose sugar and nitrogenous base. So combination of the deoxyribose sugar and nitrogenous base combines and forms the nucleosides. When phosphoric acids combine, then complete structure nucleotide is formed, and these nucleotides are considered as the monomers for forming a polymer, that is DNA. Now adenine plus deoxyribose sugar is forming deoxyadenosine. Adenine, what is adenine? It is a nitrogenous base, and it is a purine. So when nitrogenous base, that is adenine plus deoxyribose sugar, attached with it, a name that is given is deoxyadenosine. In similar way, guanine, deoxyribose sugar forming deoxyguanosine. Because no phosphoric acid is attached, that's why these terms are given to it. Now moving further, so these are the names that you according to the names of the nitrogenous base, the names of the nucleoside is decided. So this is cytidine for cytosine and thymidine for the deoxythymidine for the nitrogenous base, that is thymine. These are the structures of these respective nucleosides: deoxyadenosine DA, deoxycytidine DC, deoxyguanosine DG, and deoxythymidine DT. Now talking about nucleotides. अब nucleotide कैसे बनता है from nucleoside? The compound that is formed by the combination of phosphate groups with nucleosides. So nucleosides बन गए दो के combinations. What were the two things? Nucleosides plus the sugars plus the nitrogenous base. अब जब ये दोनों phosphoric acid के साथ combine होते हैं तो ये nucleotide बनाते हैं. So what are the four types of nucleotides present in the DNA? Deoxyadenosine monophosphate. That is for when the nitrogenous base that we are using is adenine. Then deoxyguanosine monophosphate, when the nitrogenous base used is guanosine. Deoxycytidine monophosphate for the cytosine as the nitrogenous base, and similar thymidine monophosphate. So monophosphate is the attached group to the nucleoside. This is forming one nucleoside, and then one monophosphate, mono means one, and one phosphate group is attached to it, so it combines and forms a nucleotide. Then the polynucleotide structure. Polynucleotide structure is only what we call as DNA. Poly means when many nucleotide strands combine together, they form a complete long strand that is called as the deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA. So how are these different nucleotides linked together? The number of nucleotides linked each other by phosphodiester bond. So which bond is responsible for the attaching of the two nucleotides together? The phosphodiester bond, and this phosphodiester bond helps to form a long chain of molecule called as polynucleotide strand. So two nucleotides attaching together with a phosphodiester bond, and phosphodiester bond is found between two phosphate groups. So that's why it is called as phosphodiester bond. Then a complete polynucleotide strand is formed. Now what happens? The phosphodiester bond forms between fifth and third carbon atom position of the pentose sugar. Therefore polynucleotide strand contains fifth and third end. So now this, ये जो है phosphodiester bond, ये फॉर्म होता है फिफ्थ के बीच में और थर्ड के बीच में, दैट इज फिफ्थ and third carbon atom of the pentose sugar. So that's why this is the 5' end and this is the 3' end. So if we denote a DNA and we have to decide it 2 points, तो 2 points हम decide करते हैं कि if one end is 5' end, then the other end will be 3' end, because of this formation of phosphodiester bond between the fifth and third carbon atom positions. Now who are credited for the structure of DNA? The correct structure of DNA was given by the two scientists J.D. Watson and F.H.C. Crick in the year 1953, and what was that structure called? Double helical structure of DNA, and they got the Nobel Prize for their work in the year 1962. So Watson was just of 34 years of age when he got the Nobel Prize. According to Watson and Crick model of DNA, the DNA contains the two polynucleotide strands coiled together in helical manner. Now I'll show what does this helical manner means. So this is the particular definition that was given by Watson as it is quoted. So the DNA contains two polynucleotide strands. This is one polynucleotide strand, and when one another polynucleotide strand, they both link together in a helical way. Helical means they fold upon each other and then they form a structure that we call as DNA. That's why the term double helical structure was given. Then James Dewey Watson got April 6 and 1928, and he got the prize in 1962, and he was born in 1928. Then Francis Henry Compton Crick, he was born on 8th June and died in 2004. Now the structure of DNA is as follows. द कंप्लीट स्ट्रक्चर नाउ अब हम लोग ने पॉलीन्यूक्लियोटाइड स्ट्रैंड तक बना लिया है. अब तो जब इन दोनों पॉलीन्यूक्लियोटाइड स्ट्रैंड को कंबाइन कैसे करना है डीएनए के फॉर्मेशन के लिए, दैट विल टॉक अबाउट. सो द डीएनए इज अ डबल स्ट्रैंडेड पॉलीन्यूक्लियोटाइड मॉलिक्यूल. शुगर एंड द फॉस्फेट फॉर्म्स अ बैकबोन. तो बैकबोन मीन्स किस बेसिस पे ये जो डीएनए पॉलीन्यूक्लियोटाइड स्ट्रैंड है ये खड़ा है, मतलब हाउ इट इज व्हाट इज द स्ट्रक्चर दैट इज प्रोवाइडिंग इट फ्रेमवर्क. So it is the sugar and phosphate. So they are the basic structures that is forming the backbone of DNA. And what is the function of bases? The bases are projected to inside. So sugar and bases, they are present at the back side, and from this backbone, that is sugar and phosphate backbone, the bases are projecting towards the inside. So the two strands, they are coiled together and coiled upon each other and arranged anti-parallelly. So now what are the two ends? 5 prime end and the 3 prime end. So अब जब इन दोनों का coil हम लोग को करना है दो polynucleotide strand को, तो they will be anti-parallelly coiled. That is taking 5 prime end and 3 prime end for one polynucleotide, and then taking 3 prime end and 5 prime end for the another polynucleotide. तो 5 prime end एक polynucleotide strand का दूसरे के 3 प्राइम एंड से कॉइल करेगा, और वैसे ही एक का 3 प्राइम एंड दूसरे के 5 प्राइम एंड से कॉइल करेगा. सो दिस इज द एंटी पैरेलल पोजीशन. सो द टू स्ट्रैंड्स ऑफ डीएनए हैव द कॉमन डायमीटर दैट इज ऑफ 20 आर्मस्ट्रॉन्ग. Adenine of one strand pairs with thymine of the other by 2 hydrogen bonds. So A combines with T or pairs with T, and what is the bond that is joining these two, adenine and thymine? That is the hydrogen bond. And how many hydrogen bonds? 2 hydrogen bonds. And guanine of one strand pairs with the cytosine with 3 hydrogen bonds. So which is more stronger bond? The one which is formed of more hydrogen bonds. That's why guanine and cytosine are more stronger as compared to the adenine and thymine bonds. Now, because of the complementary base pairing arrangement, if one strand of the polynucleotide sequence is known, another can be deduced. So complementary means that अगर हम लोग को एक पॉलीन्यूक्लियोटाइड का स्ट्रैंड पता है तो हम दूसरे का आसानी से पता कर सकते हैं. हाउ कैन वी डू सो? अब हमने मान लिया फॉर एग्जाम्पल दिस इज द फर्स्ट पॉलीन्यूक्लियोटाइड स्ट्रैंड स्टार्टिंग विद ए, एडेनिन, गुआनिन, साइटोसिन, थायमिन. सो दिस इज द कंप्लीट स्ट्रक्चर 5 प्राइम टू 3 प्राइम एंड. तो अब ए से कौन पेयरिंग शो करता है? टी. सो वी नो दैट अगर यहाँ ए है तो दूसरा पॉलीन्यूक्लियोटाइड स्ट्रैंड पे थायमिन प्रेजेंट होगा, गुआनिन से साइटोसिन, और कितने बॉन्ड के साथ ये पेयरिंग शो करेगा? विथ 2 हाइड्रोजन बॉन्ड्स, और गुआनिन साइटोसिन के साथ 3 हाइड्रोजन बॉन्ड्स. सो इफ T, that is in the second polynucleotide strand, there will be A, because T pairs with A pairs with T. So this is how we can deduce the complementary strand. Complementary means which is which is complementing another, and which is pairing with another in some, and it is having some specific sequence which is helping in determining the sequence of the another one. The complementary strand twisted each other at the distance of 34 angstrom. So what is the distance between the two polynucleotide strands when they are coiling together? The distance of 34 angstrom. And what was the diameter? The diameter was of about 20 angstrom. So each twist of DNA contains 10 base pairs. तो एक twist होता है, one twist is formed of 10 base pairs, and the distance between two base pairs are 3.4 angstrom. Now this is the structure of DNA. It is uncoiled, and this was the first structure that was given. Then comes this, the coiled structure. This is the most used structure, and it is considered to be the best structure of DNA. So sugar phosphate backbone, this is the sugar phosphate backbone, and in this what are projecting from inside? The nitrogenous bases. This is considered to be as the major groove. Why it is considered as the major groove? Because it is having the maximum distance between the two base pairs. Now this is minor groove because of the least distance. from one to the another there is a presence of 3.5 nanometer distance, and between two base pairs the distance is about 0.34 nanometer. So here it is given nanometer, that's why 3.4. Otherwise, if it would be given in Armstrong, that it would have been 34 Armstrong, and this would be 3.4 Armstrong. Now moving further, now another a more specific structure, a more coiled one. So now this is phosphorus, the carbon in the sugar phosphate backbone. This is the carbon and this is the sugar phosphate backbone, and from here the carbon is there, can be seen. This is hydrogen. Hydrogen is used because it is hydrogen bond is used for pairing A to T as well as C to G, the two nitrogenous bases. This is oxygen, and these are the different bases. This is marking the major groove and this is the minor groove. So now central dogma. In the very first slide I told you about the central dogma. So what is central dogma? One way of flow of genetic information from DNA to protein is called central dogma, but it is not complete. There is something missing. So now what is central dogma? From DNA it forms from protein, from DNA to protein, DNA to RNA, RNA, then from RNA to protein. This is given here कि ये होता है central dogma, but again one thing is more possible, which is the forming of RNA to DNA. So this whole process combinedly called as the central dogma. DNA RNA को फॉर्म करता है by the process known as transcription. RNA प्रोटीन को फॉर्म करता है, and not mRNA, not just mRNA, specifically mRNA, because there are main three types of, there are many others RNAs in when you will study in higher classes, but main are the ribosomal RNA, rRNA, that is then tRNA, transfer RNA, and the messenger RNA. तो DNA से mRNA बनता है जब, that then the process called as transcription, and from mRNA to protein, translation, and from RNA to DNA, then it is called as reverse transcription. Reverse because in the forward direction it is transcription, and when RNA to DNA it is called as reverse transcription. So now the packaging of DNA in prokaryotes. How is this DNA packaged in the prokaryotic cells? Prokaryotes do not have a definite nucleus, unlike eukaryotes. Eukaryotes have a well-defined nucleus. That's why the prokaryotes are being distinguished from the eukaryotes. This is the sole basis of distinguishment between the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes, that is a well-defined nucleus in eukaryotes. U means true and carry on for the word nucleus. So true nucleus present in the case of eukaryotes, and they have a well defined nuclear membrane around the nucleus, but it is absent in prokaryotes. That's why the packaging is a little difficult in this. So DNA is not scattered throughout the cell. It is held together with some proteins in a region called nucleoid. So DNA जो prokaryotes होते हैं वो DNA हर जगह स्कैटर्ड नहीं होता है पूरे सेल में, बट एक जगह होती है सेंट्रल में, एक पोजीशन वो ऑक्यूपाई कर लेता है जहाँ वो थोड़े 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 फॉर्म्स में एक accumulate हो जाता है, and that part is called as nucleoid. So the DNA in nucleoid is organized in large loops, and then they combine with proteins, and when protein and nucleoid combines together, then the packaging is complete. So now packaging of DNA in eukaryotes. In eukaryotes, the DNA is stabilized with positively charged basic protein called histones. तो stabilized कैसे होता है? Just because DNA is having S3PO4, the phosphate group, and phosphate group is negatively charged. So in whole, DNA is considered to be negatively charged, and when it combines with the positively charged proteins, that is histones. So ये दोनों combine जब होते हैं, negative and positive, they combine together and the complete molecule that becomes neutral. So it is now stable. So the histones are positively charged due to the rich in basic amino acids like lysines and arginines. So there are three types of acids: acidic acids, acidic amino acids, basic amino acids, and neutral amino acids. So that's why histones are composed of the basic acids. Basic amino acids are positively charged, and that's why the histone is of positive nature. Then histones are organized to form a unit of 8 molecules called histone octamer. So this is the structure when the DNA is there and the histone is, these are the histones, they combine together and the coiling continues. So ये जो structure बनता है, these are the histone, the balls you can see, and this is the H1 histone. H1 histone is for providing the backbone, and these are, so there are four types of histones: H1A, H1B, H2, H3 and H4. So these are the different types of histones that are present, and this H1 histone is providing the framework to the complete octamer structure, and this is the DNA that is being coiled around. So this is the packaging in eukaryotes. Now this is a solenoid. Now I'll tell you what is a solenoid. The negatively charged DNA that is wrapped around positively charged histone octamer to form a structure called as nucleosome. So nucleosome is considered to be the best packing in the eukaryotes. So the nucleosomes are seen as beads on string. Like genes are also seen on chromosomes as beads on string, in the same way nucleosomes are also called beads on string structure, because this is the thread like structure you can see, this is the DNA, and here the beads you can see, these are the proteins. So that's why this structure is called the beads on string structure, and this is considered to be the string. DNA is considered to be string, and beads are considered to be as the proteins. The complete structure is called as nucleosome coiling. Nucleosome forms a repeating structure unit of a structure. It is called as chromatin. Now the term chromatin is used when the complete packaging is done of the DNA along with the histone protein. So the term that is used is chromatin. So what is chromatin now? The chromatin is packaged to form chromatin fibers. So these are further coiled. अब जब nucleosome बन गया और chromatin now we called as the chromatin, the beads on string structure, it is called as chromatin. अब chromatin की further packaging होती है, और ये जो further packaging होती है ये coil होते हैं आपस में और condense होते हैं. Which stage of mitosis? The metaphase stage. And now the chromatin further and further coils and condense to form a structure called as chromosome. So what are the two types of chromatin? The euchromatin and the heterochromatin. So in the nucleus, what is euchromatin? Nucleus में कुछ loosely coiled regions होते हैं chromatin के, और they are lightly stained. Lightly stained means अगर हम लोग एक basic dye से इनको stain करेंगे तो ये जो stain देते हैं that is very light in color. एंड हेट्रोक्रोमेटिन ये भी न्यूक्लियस में प्रेजेंट होते हैं, बट ये डेंसली पैक होते हैं, मतलब ये जो इनकी पैकेजिंग होती है बहुत ज़्यादा कॉइल्ड होती है, और ये जो स्टेन देते हैं आफ्टर बीइंग डिप्ड इनटू और स्टेन विद basic dyes, they give a darker stain. So that's why they are called as heterochromatin. Ab now the euchromatin are transcriptionally active then the heterochromatin. Means euchromatin जो ट्रांसक्रिप्शन की पावर होती है वो euchromatin में काफ़ी ज़्यादा होती है as compared to the heterochromatin. That's why euchromatin term is given to them. U means true, and they are the true chromosomes that are responsible for the transcription process. So this was all for today, and in the next class we start with the next step, that is the transformation, transduction and conjugation. Thank you class.